Hey folks, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we got some big updates around Bitcoin. It had its highest weekly close in history at $109,200. Here's what analyst Matthew Hyland had to say. Bitcoin completes the highest weekly candle close ever. Bulls are in control. So this goes back to our thesis, which we've been talking about for months now, despite all the doomers and the people saying the market is over, bear market, here it is, right? We were saying the bull market's still intact. The on-chain data, the macro, the technical analysis on the charts all were showing that the bull market was still intact despite volatility, despite market pullbacks and crashes, right? Because the key support levels were not broken, whales were still accumulating, global liquidity was still rising, but you got to watch out for people who are just sharing sentiment because many of them are not looking at data and facts in the charts, and you want to make sure you're sticking to the data. So this is a very good sign for the continuation of the bull market. Now, does it mean Bitcoin tomorrow is going to pump to $130,000 in 1 week? Of course not. We're going to stair step our way out of the consolidation zone we've been in. And of course, the market doesn't move in a straight line. We're going to work our way up and then we'll hit a parabolic phase, just like we saw in Q4. We worked our way up and then all of a sudden Bitcoin broke out and then altcoins followed. XRP, Solana, all these coins started moving. So if you're not a Bitcoin holder, it doesn't matter. You're still waiting for Bitcoin to make its move. We use Bitcoin as the measuring stick. So we're waiting for that move, and this is a very good sign that we had the highest weekly close ever. Yeah, that's a bear market. That's what happens in bear market, if you get my sarcasm there, right? But guys, Bitcoin right now trading at $109,435. So let's see what this week brings us as we continue to stair step our way out. We're waiting for Bitcoin to break $112,000 and then it will enter price discovery once again. When you look at the higher time frame of the weekly chart, still looks very bullish. Bitcoin's RSI on the weekly still shows room for upside here. We're not in the overbought zone. The MACD is still green, showing the bulls still have the momentum. Bitcoin dominance, even though it's consolidating sideways right now, has been on the rise, and I believe it's going to continue to rise to about 71%. And we're going to see Bitcoin steal the show, of course, where the liquidity is going to flow to Bitcoin. It will pump to new highs. Then the rotational liquidity will take place. And of course, in order for it to do that, you need to see the Tether dominance keep breaking down. So Tether dominance had started breaking down since April, and we saw Bitcoin hit 112,000 as a result. And some altcoins started waking up, like Ethereum and so forth. But then Tether dominance has been moving sideways. Now, this is speaking to the stablecoin liquidity. We use it as a benchmark because we know a lot of the liquidity comes from Tether. And once that enters the market, the assets pump. So we're talking Bitcoin and altcoins. And as you can see here in Q4, we had a major breakdown. Even in Q1 into the early innings of Q2, the breakdown of the Tether dominance. And that took us into a big rally. So patience is the key here. You got to be patient. Things are playing out. The thesis is still intact here based on the data now, not our feelings, not our emotions. And we're going to see that big rally, folks, but we gotta go through the volatility and be patient. And here, one analyst on X shared a chart analysis of the Tether dominance, saying, I compressed this fractal and it fits better, would mean that USDT dominance is about to have a very large move from now until late July. Crypto rips hard until late July. So we could see a major rally. There's no guarantees here, of course, because there are different factors that could change things around. Just look at what happened with the tariff situation and that big crash that pushed everything back, the timeline pretty much. So let's see how this plays out. We're still early in July, and this rally that may start in the middle of July or so, or late July, could bleed into August. Then maybe the latter half of August, we see a correction, then a continuation sometime in September into October. Again, this is what we're looking at from the timeline and how the charts are moving. we'll have to update the thesis as things progress. But from the macro, the bull market's still intact, especially with global liquidity and these things continue to rise. So I shared a couple of charts in my newsletter today, and be sure to sign up for my newsletter. It's 100% free. You can go review these charts in detail. And one of them is the total crypto market cap, showing where we're at right now, and that using Elliott wave analysis, we still have ways to go here with in the micro or the short term, a third wave, which will take us to a peak come late July and into August, then a correction, and then move up into Q4. So that will be the completion of the macro fifth wave. And again, macro. So we're talking like the entire year and multiple years here. So you can see here the chart analysis and signals are aligning to there's more upside here. In addition, if you use a Fibonacci model for the total crypto market cap, which would take us to near $10 trillion, that would be a 4.236 extension that we're nowhere close there. So we got ways to go, folks. And as I've been preaching for nonstop, make sure you have a profit-taking plan because there will be a bear market. All bull markets end in a blow-off top and then a deep correction. Now, will the correction that's coming up in the bear market this time around be as deep as the ones before? Probably not, because you have ETFs and much more. However, all markets correct, right? Even the stock market. And let the tariff crash be an example to you. Black swan events can happen. So make sure you have your plan and you know what you're doing. Now, one signal I often share with you guys for Bitcoin is the pi cycle top indicator, and that is nowhere close to signaling. And this is one of the metrics we're going to look at closely as the prices continue to rise to get an idea where we're at. Earlier I mentioned Bitcoin whales continue to accumulate. So data from Sentiment showing on-chain data, wallets with 10 or more coins continue to increase. You look at this chart here. I know some of you listening on the podcast can't see it, but trust me when I tell you, and I put it in my newsletter, by the way, we continue to see the rise here, and they are accumulating. When they are exiting the market, you see this number start to dip. And a clear indication of that was in Q2 of 2024 with the Bitcoin buy the rumor sell the news event, where Bitcoin was super overheated. It had hit new highs ahead of the halving. There was a massive dump. This same chart showed the massive dump, and that correlated with the price pullback, of course. So we're going to watch all of these things closely. So stick with me. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. You're subscribed to the podcast on the podcast networks on YouTube. You got the notification bell enabled, because once again, we want to walk away from this bull market with money in our pockets. Folks, quick word from our sponsor, and that is Trezor. Trezor makes beautiful hardware wallets that make it easy for you to safely store your crypto. I'm a user of the Trezor product. I use the Trezor Safe 5 device. Trezor was the first to pioneer crypto hardware wallets. They did the whole seed phrase setup. Their hardware wallets are open source. They've been at this since 2013, and they support a variety of tokens. I'm talking Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, all your top tokens. And they have a great software called Trezor Suite, which helps you to manage all your coins. And they also have a one-on-one service to help you onboard. So let's say you buy the device. There's a service you can subscribe to where a Trezor representative will walk you through the process of setting up your account, setting up your device, and much more. So it's really great, a hand-holding service, because I know sometimes these things can be complex, but that's a great service to have. And folks, you can use the code ThinkingCrypto, all one word, ThinkingCrypto, to get 5% off your purchase of a device. So to learn more, check out Trezor. The link will be in the description. Now, folks, I'm sure many of you heard about this. Elon Musk, he's been going through a whole political battle with President Trump and much more. And he's talking about creating a third political party, which would be the America Party. Now, someone asked him on X as he posted about the America Party. They said, Elon, will the America Party embrace Bitcoin? He said, fiat is hopeless. So yes. Wow. I don't know where this is going to go, but we know Elon is bullish on crypto. He personally holds Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. Tesla holds Bitcoin on his balance sheet. So I expect he's going to do a lot of updates to the X platform because he wants to make it an all-in-one app with finance and trading and stuff and so forth. And I believe he's going to integrate blockchain and crypto. So we'll keep an eye on this. So regardless of if you're a fan of Elon or not, that's not the point. What we're looking at as investors is adoption and on all fronts, right? In all parts of society, whether it be Wall Street, TradFi, pop culture, society, even politics, right? So all of these dominoes are falling, and crypto is getting penetration on multiple fronts. So this is all bullish in my opinion. Now, Eleanor Terry reported the following that this coming week there's going to be a hearing on Wednesday specifically called Making America the Crypto Capital of the World, focusing on building a 21st century tax policy framework for digital assets. So this is outside the Clarity and Genius Act, which is the market structure and stablecoin legislation, respectively. But apparently, this is being postponed. It's going to be pushed back due to the House is out of session this week. So the point is, though, this could be significant because they could open up possibly, some sort of tax benefits for crypto holders, maybe less capital gains tax, right? Maybe the ability to spend some of your crypto tax free without, hitting that tax penalty of conversion. So it's conversion to fiat, of course. So let's see how this plays out. But boy, if they, cut back on capital gains, I would love that, man. That would be amazing because I've often said capital gains tax is highway robbery by the US government or in governments in general, because you take your already taxed money, you go and invest it in an asset, it appreciates, you take profits, and the government comes and takes a cut. You know what I mean? That's highway robbery by the government, man. But this would be very interesting and very bullish on the market. And as I reported yesterday, folks, and even in my newsletter today, Crypto Week, as the folks in the House Financial Services Committee are calling it, will be July 14th through the 18th, where the three major bills will be reviewed, which is the Clarity Act, the Market Structure Bill, the Genius Act, the Stablecoin Bill, and the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Bill. So we are seeing Congress ramping up here towards crypto legislation. So this is why, if you step back and you look at all the puzzle pieces, global liquidity, the charts, Bitcoin highest weekly close, what Congress is doing, putting out the big banner out there, Crypto Week, right? And we're seeing signs of a possible rally coming in. You see all the puzzle pieces lining up here, right? There's a narrative to go with maybe the rally, which is, stablecoin legislation gets passed. Remember, stablecoin legislation passing through the House, it goes straight to Trump now for signatures because it already passed in the Senate. So I believe it will make it quickly through the House. And the Clarity Act will, once that passes the House, it has to go to the Senate. And as David Sachs had highlighted the last week of June, that, that's going to play more into September. So this is where, again, follow my timeline that I was sharing earlier. If you align the chart analysis here, right, with what the government is doing with crypto legislation, you see a rally into late July, correction into August, then a pump into maybe the second half of September, ends in October. That's something to keep in mind here, folks. So this is why you want to be an educated, informed investor. Look at all aspects. You can't just have tunnel vision for the chart. You got to look at the macro. You got to look at what the government's doing. You got to look at global liquidity. You got to look at on-chain data with the whales and much more. So that's what I'm trying to give you here, the full lay of the land, so we can be as educated as possible as to what this market's doing, because we don't have a crystal ball. So we use the signals, the metrics, and so forth that we have. And like I said, have that profit taking plan so you walk away from this bull market with money in your pocket. Just be prepared. This is the year, in my opinion, of the bull market blow off top. And it may bleed into 2026. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but just be prepared mentally and to know what your plan is. And I've got my plan written down, and I'm starting to prepare to move coins around and get ready for the rally and put my sell targets and all that jazz. A tip I'll give to you guys If things get really crazy, euphoric, and greedy, some exchanges may experience downtime due to traffic. So I set up accounts with all the major crypto exchanges: Uphold, Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini, you name it, full KYC, AML, full security in place, so that if I have problems with any exchange, I could just jump to the next, if you know what I mean. So just be prepared with stuff like that. And in addition, let's say you take profits and you're ready to transfer money to your bank, call your bank ahead so your transactions and things don't get run into roadblocks. Like, hey, I'm transferring money from an exchange over to my bank account. Let them know and all that, right? Obviously, know what your tax implications are. Some of you are in different countries, or different parts of the country, different income levels. So you need to make sure you're talking to an accountant and know what you're doing. I've already spoken to my accountant, like, hey, expect this, and I think the second half of this year. And, I'll update you as I take profits and what that looks like and what I should be holding or maybe paying up front to the IRS. Some people do that, right? And how I'm going to navigate that. So things to keep in mind, folks. We want to make sure we are well prepared, because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And, there's the law of diminishing returns, where you won't get the same return as the market gets larger and matures, right? More liquidity will come in, more buyers and so forth, more holders. So even though I am anticipating more gains in 2028 to 2030 bull market, as far as higher prices, I should say, we won't see the same level of returns on certain coins, right, as they mature. But maybe newer coins, you could see them pop off. But anyway, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's make some money in this cycle first before we start planning for 2028 to 2030. So folks, let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. A great way you can support me in the podcast is by subscribing to my free email newsletter, 100% free. It's on Substack. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. Check it out, folks. Thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.